Hello, boys and girls. It is grammar time, and we are going to be talking about adjectives again this week, but not just any adjectives. We are going to be talking about adjectives that compare. All right? So, before we get started on that, though, let's review. What is an adjective? All right? What is an adjective? Does anyone remember what kind of word it is? I'm listening for your answer. It's a describing word, right? It's a word that tells us about something. It describes a noun. It gives us more details about a noun, right? So, let's see, some examples of adjectives. Happy, that can describe someone, right? Or wet, if like you got a water balloon thrown at you and now you're all wet, that describes how you feel. If something is loud, that describes how it sounds. All right, so we did a lot with describing words last week, and you guys did such a good job with your, a couple weeks ago, your adjective Annies and things like that, and then doing some more adjectives. Last week, you guys did such a good job, so we're definitely ready to move on to adjectives that compare. All right, so when we use an adjective that compares, we often add an ER or an EST to the end. So, let's say our adjective is, what did I say before? Wet, right? So if someone's wet, someone might be wetter. They might be more wet. And then someone might be the wettest. All right? They might have the most water on them. Okay? So when you add an ER to the end of an adjective, you are usually comparing two nouns. Only two. Okay? Not more than two. If you are comparing three or more, so more than two, then you need to add EST to the end of the adjective. All right, so for ER, you're comparing two nouns. For EST, you are comparing three nouns. Okay? So, it says it right here to help us remember. So, if our noun was fast, okay? Fast. We can say that a sentence would be, Kurt is a fast runner, right? That describes the kind of runner that Kurt is. Kurt is a fast runner, all right? But then if we're comparing two people, we would use the word faster. So Sheena is a faster runner than Kurt. We're comparing Sheena and Kurt, two people, two nouns. We are comparing Sheena and Kurt, so we say faster. Faster, because there's two people that we are comparing, Sheena and Kurt. We are comparing how they run, and Sheena is faster. All right? Now let's add someone else into the mix. How about Jen? Jen is the fastest runner of all. So if we add Jen now, so now we have Kurt, Sheena, and Jen, that's three people. That's three nouns. So we need to use EST now. So we can say Jen is the fastest runner of all, which means that she is faster than Kurt, and she's also faster than Sheena. So she is the fastest out of the three of them. Now we saw words like this in math last week. So that's kind of cool that they work out that they're close, that these lessons are close to each other. Okay? So if you're comparing two things, you add ER. So it's faster when we were comparing Kurt and Sheena. Then if you're comparing three or more nouns, you add EST. So then it's fastest when we are comparing Kurt, Sheena, and Jen. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at some sentences on the back here. And we need to find the adjectives that compare. All right. All right, so let's read these sentences together, and then we can figure out which adjectives compare, and maybe we can even guess how many nouns we are comparing. All right, so the first row is long. What's the adjective in that sentence? Long. That's our adjective. Let's underline that. Long is our adjective. It describes the row. All right? So there's only one row that we're talking about here. So nothing is added to it, right? Because there's only one row. All right, so then the next row is longer. The next row, so now there's another row. So that's 2 rows. And the word that describes is longer. Longer. Look at that ER because we are comparing 2 rows. We had the first row and then the next row. All right, we're comparing those 2 words. Okay? Now, we're comparing the 2 rows. So now we have one more sentence here. The last row. Wait, we've added another row. So we had the first row, the next row, and the last row. So how many rows are we working with? 3. And on the other side of the board, it said that when you are comparing 3 or more nouns, you add EST. Okay, so let's see what word we have now. The last row is the longest. We add EST, right? And this word is our comparing word, so that's the word we're describing with it and using to compare. So we'll underline the whole thing, but we'll double underline EST because that is the special ending because we are comparing 3 rows, right? We're comparing the first row, the next row, and the last row. So we have to add EST to the end of our adjective because that is the longest row. Okay? I hope that makes sense, boys and girls. We are going to look at this again tomorrow, but you do have a worksheet to do just to help you review what we just went over. Okay? So read the instructions or have your parents help you read the instructions and then work on those adjectives that compare. And we'll work on this again more tomorrow.